In the headlines, 7 more Kaduna-Abuja train attack passengers regain freedom. President Buhari urges Nigerians to put country's interest above self as Muslims celebrate Eid al-Kabir. APC expresses worry over poor voter registration in northwest Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, Sri Lanka president to step down, parliamentary speaker says amid storm of protests. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update this hour. I am Nten Ekpan. And on the news in detail, President Muhammadu Buhari took part in the Eid al-Kabir prayer in Daura on Saturday, urging Nigerians to intensify exposing unusual activities so as to uncover bandits and their terrorists in their localities. He is confident that this will prompt the security apparatus to eliminate threats across the country. The president shared his thoughts with newsmen at his country home in Daura just as he interacted with persons who came to pay homage to him. Kehinde Amadu reports.
Away from the turmoil of insecurity, President Buhari comes home to Daura to find some temporary reprieve. But even at home these days, the dark clouds of insecurity loom large in Katsina State. Despite the specter of insecurity hovering in the background, the Muslim faithful in Daura turned out in large numbers for the prayers at the Kofa Arewa praying ground. To appreciate the people, the president walked back to his house from the prayers. The walk back home is probably to pass a message to the terrorists that their reign of intimidation means nothing to him. In fact, he has a harsh message for them.
I hope the rest of Nigerians that are making trouble, the terrorists and so on, will understand Nigeria's problem is for people to be productive in terms of producing the food we eat. Look at when we closed our borders for about 2 years. We stopped importing rice. A lot of people had gone back to the land and they haven't regretted it. We are now feeding ourselves and some rice is being exported. So this is my objective and I am achieving it. My only problem is that there are still people who really benefit from killing other people and stealing and so on.
But the president also has key words of advice to people in communities.
We hope that the rainy season will be good and our people will be productive. I think that's the most important thing, when there is enough food for the people.
Meanwhile, in keeping with one of his annual customs, whenever he's in Daura for Eid al-Kabir, the president met with members of the National Youth Service Corps. His advice to them is to look beyond culture, ethnicity, and religion in relating with one another, urging more travels, mingling, tolerance, and negotiations to appreciate the rich diversity of the country.
Nigeria is so vast, culturally, ethnically, and religiously, and we have to learn to tolerate and live with each other. So I congratulate you for you coming here to the other end of Nigeria from wherever you come.
In his remarks, the Corps Liaison Officer, CLO, Douglas Damina, thanked the president for encouraging sustenance of the NYSC and promoting youth inclusiveness and empowerment.
We wish to respectfully thank Mr. President for his very good disposition to the welfare of Corps members in particular and the entire Nigerian youth in general.
Keeping with these routine and seemingly simple tasks in Daura is President Buhari's way of telling rampaging terrorists that they will not disrupt the flow of life in Nigeria. Despite the daring, bold acts of the terrorists, the message is that Eid celebrations will go on, and so will life as Nigerians know it. Kehinde Amadu, Trust TV News.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has assured that the military will continue to discharge its constitutional roles to ensure that the current challenges of security in the country are surmounted. The Army Chief disclosed this during the joint Salah luncheon with troops of Operation Hadinke in Maiduguri. The report.
The joint Salah celebration of the Army and Air Force was to mark Eid al-Kabir with recuperating troops of Operation Haɗin Kai at the Mai Malari cantonment. The special luncheon was a reflective moment for men of the force as they remembered soldiers who paid the supreme price. The Chief of Air Staff noted that the synergy between the Army and Air Force has recorded successful defeats by Operation Haɗin Kai, Desert Sanity and Hadarin Daji in the fight against terrorism in the region, and assured of commitment and support. Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, represented by Chief of Policy and Plans, said the present security challenges will not deter the military in its operational conduct and patriotism in bringing peace to the country. He reiterated the Army's commitment to training, improved welfare and reward for excellence for soldiers and officers.
Indeed, the nation has been faced with myriads of security challenges which have distorted the livelihood of all citizens. Nevertheless, the Nigerian Army has continued to employ effective means to tackle these challenges through professional conduct of its officers and men in the field. Let me use this opportunity to once again pay special tribute to our beloved colleagues who have paid the supreme price in the defense of our fatherland. The Nigerian Army, under my leadership, remains committed to providing quality welfare for their families and preserving the memories of their uncommon sacrifices.
This motion thus provides an opportunity to share, unwind and appreciate the efforts in ongoing counterterrorism and counter-insurgency operations. It's also aimed at fostering comradeship, reducing tension, emanating from the operational environment, and to reassure you of our commitment to continuously provide the required support to sustain land, maritime, and air operations. The Nigerian Force remains committed toward providing air components with necessary equipment and platforms in support of joint operations to ensure peace in the region.
The Army further revealed that over 61,000 combatant and non-combatant Boko Haram members have surrendered, adding that the Army will continually keep its arms open for more repentant insurgents willing to embrace peace.
In the North Central, worshippers in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, turned out en masse to observe the 2-rakat Eid al-Kabir prayers, with Governor Abdulrahman Abdul Razak calling for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. And shortly before leaving for the palace to pay homage to the Emir, the governor told reporters he was pleased with a peaceful Eid. He said as long as the country has peace, prosperity is guaranteed. The Eid prayer was led by the chief imam of Ilorin, Sheikh Muhammad Bashir Solu, who thereafter slaughtered the sacrificial ram, which symbolizes the high points of the Eid rites. Also at the Eid was the Emir of Ilorin, Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, accompanied by a retinue of royal chiefs in Kakaki. The Eid was similarly attended by several statesmen, cabinet members, members of the governing and opposition parties.
Well, we thank God that we've seen today. We've had a peaceful Eid. The message to Nigeria is about peace and prosperity. So long as we have peace, the nation will prosper. So we should all work for that common peace, inner peace, outwards peace, and all will be well in Nigeria. Thank you.
And hundreds of Muslim faithful in Jigawa State, northwest Nigeria, joined their counterparts around the world to mark this year's Eid al-Kabir. In Kazauri, Emirate of the state, faithful are advised to sustain the spirit of love, peace and unity as contained in the teachings of Islam. Trust TV's Idris Jibrin reports that residents came out in large numbers to mark the 10th day in the Muslim month of Zulhijjah. The report.
Gathered in Kazaure Central Eid Ground are hundreds of residents from villages and towns of the kingdom, including the first-class Emir of Kazaure, Alhaji Najib Usaini, the Nigeria's Minister of Water Resources, traditional and community leaders. Like their fellow Muslims across the globe, they observe the 2 rak'at prayers, effectively fulfilling another fundamental pillar of Islam. The message here is simple but strong: peace and unity.
It is mandated on us to continue to praise Allah for what He has done to us and to continue to seek for His guidance, for His forgiveness, and for His favor in whatever we do, so that we can continue to coexist and survive through the tides of this time. But most importantly, also to continue to pray, to seek Allah's protection, and to get ourselves out of the mess we find ourselves in this country as far as the issue of security is concerned. How people are bedeviling us, killing people, kidnapping, ransom, and so on and so forth. So this issue of insecurity is not just a man-made issue, but we have to seek for Allah's intervention.
Highlight of this year's Eid in Kazaure includes the traditional Hawan Sallah by the Emir, his district heads, and other traditional title holders.
I urge you to fear Allah in all that you do. It is now the time for rainy season, and we pray for Allah to give us the best of it. I also urge you to go back to Almighty Allah. We should seek forgiveness. Any society that turns it back from Almighty Allah, God will also turn away from that society. Let's strive to love one another during this important period of Salah.
For the resident of Kazauri, it's time for sacrifices, caring and sharing with one another. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kazauri.
And similarly, Muslims in Nasarawa State have joined their counterparts across the globe to celebrate Eid al-Kabir. Abubakar Abdullahi reports that prayers were offered at different Eid grounds and rams sacrificed by some faithful. His report is presented here in our studio.
Deputy Chief Imam of Lafia Central Mosque, Malam Yusuf Naibi, led the annual Eid prayer at the Lafia Central Eid ground. Naibi, in his sermon, charged believers who can afford to ensure that they are not left out in the animal sacrifice, of emphasizing that camel and ram, depending on the availability and affordability, can be used for the sacrifice. In Kwadiri, the Chief Imam Salihu Akwai, who led the prayer, cautioned faithful in his sermon against use of sick or deformed animals for the sacrifice. One cannot use a ram that is crippled, has one eye, or too small for sacrifice. In their Salah messages, Emir of Lafia, Sidi Bagi, and Sangarin Kwadiri, Ahmadu Al-Makura thanked Allah for the opportunity to be among those that witnessed the celebration and call on the people of their domains to continue to pray for the sustenance of peace and development of the nation. If we are busy with one trade or the other, we will not have time to engage on wholesome activities. I am calling on everyone to learn a trade in order to make a decent living. We have been talking about voters registration, and so I am using this avenue to again encourage people to come out and register. Rams were slaughtered after the prayer session at different mosques across the state, as well as horse riding, among others. We appreciate God for giving us good health and allowing us to see this day.
Muslims in Nigeria have been admonished to change their attitude towards seeking God's intervention on issues bedeviling the country and total submission to the will of Allah. This was part of the sermon during the Eid al-Kabir 2 Rakat prayers delivered by the Chief Imam Ibrahim Idris of Gwalaga Mosque in Bauchi. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes this report.
As Muslims across Bauchi join their counterpart across the world to observe the 2 Rakat prayers as a tradition of the Prophet of Islam, The chief imam called on them to rededicate themselves to Allah. We shall remain in peace by the grace of God. Change begins with us. I urge everyone to purify their mind for our own good. You observe that people always cheat one another, and that is evil. I beg people in the name of Allah to always practice the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that will usher us lasting peace and tranquility. God will answer our prayers. While some of the worshippers lamented the current economic hardship, others are happy to witness Eid al-Kabir prayer.
They used to increase money which people cannot afford to buy sale. And we pray for them to fear Allah in all their doings. And we are very happy for the day.
Many people sacrifice, but there are those who cannot afford it due to the situation of the nation. We cannot say only Bauchi State alone. No, the entire nation are facing a lot of problems, insecurity everywhere. But we thank God we are here.
As a festival of sacrifice, Muslims are reminded of the need to remember and extend a hand of fellowship to the less privileged among them. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
In Zamfara State, Muslims there have joined their counterparts the world over to mark this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration. Chief Imam of the Tudun Wada Eid ground, Imam Dan Al-Haji Sambo, who led the two Muslim prayers, prayed for peace, security and unity of the state, art, and the country at large. The report.
Muslims in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, converged at Tudun Wada Eid ground to observe the 2 Rakat prayers to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebrations in the state. Among those who observed the Eid al-Kabir prayers at the Tudun Wada praying ground was the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State, Senator Hassan Nasiha, former Deputy Governor of the state, Ibrahim Wakala, and the Emir of Gusau, Ibrahim Bello. Governor Bello Matoali of Zamfara State had, in a statewide broadcast to the people, congratulated Muslims on the occasion of Eid. He called on the people of the state to use the occasion to renew their faith, preach and pray for peace, and also show love, understanding, tolerance and good neighborliness among themselves. Governor Matoali said his administration is alive to its responsibility of tackling the insecurity bedeviling the state, noting that such determination informed the security measures which the state government under his leadership have initiated, especially the 4 special committees he constituted to ensure the implementation of the new measures.
As a mark of my administration commitment to entrenchment of peace and amid insecurity in the state, we have remained alive to our responsibility. Our latest effort to end the crisis are evident through new strategy. I have inaugurated 4 committees to implement the new measures we have taken toward ending the menace. It is therefore my sincere hope and expectation, and indeed the good people of Zamfara State, that inshallah in no distant future we shall return to our legendary peaceful coexistence in the state.
Governor Bello Matoali sees the opportunity of the occasion to affirm his renewed resolve and dedication to enhancing the welfare of the people by presenting them with bountiful opportunities. He assured his administration will continue to design and enact policies and programs that will help the people and bring about prosperity in the state.
As we begin this sacred festivity, we shall reflect on its essence and general message to humanity. The underlying message of submission, as evidenced by the obedience of Prophet Ibrahim to carry out a sacrifice, shows that through submissions to the will of Allah, humankind will attain a state of redemption, spiritual purity, and the enduring peace and prosperity. I'm aware that Eid al-Kabir 1443 is celebrated when inflation has become a major concern among Nigerians, especially therefore the current social and economic issues have a negative impact on the economy throughout the world.
The governor of Zamfara State, Bello Muhammad, observed the Eid al-Kabir celebration at his country's home, Marafun town, in Maradun local government area of the state.
Away from it now, after actively negotiating and participating in the dialogue that led to the release of 11 passengers of the Abuja-Kaduna train kidnapped on March 28, 2022, Kaduna-based publisher and media consultant to Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Maltiku Mahmood has again negotiated the release of another 7 of the kidnapped victims on Saturday. Leadership learned that despite Mahmoud's resolve to withdraw completely from the negotiations due to a series of setbacks and frustrations which he blamed on the federal government, he had been under tremendous pressure from family members of the victims to reconsider his stance in view of the respect and confidence the abductors have in his ability to sincerely engage in dialogue with them. Those released on Saturday include Bosede Olorutimi, Abubakar Zubeiru, Al-Hassan Suli and Sadiq Abdullahi. Others are Muhammad Paki, Aliyu Usman, and the only foreign national of Pakistani origin, Dr. Muhammad Abuza Afzal. Now, speaking on the development, Mahmoud said the success of Saturday's release of the victims has vindicated Sheikh Ahmed Gumi's stand on what the power of mediation can achieve. Gunmen on Saturday abducted the chairman and chief executive officer of Always Petroleum and Energy Services Limited, Alhaji Muhammad Jamil, at his residence at Idare quarters in Okene, local government area of Kogi State. According to an eyewitness who pleaded anonymity, the kidnappers, numbering 4, entered the house posing as business associates shortly after Muhammad Jamil returned from Eid praying ground in Okene town. He said the abductors forced their victim out of his residence at about noon and whisked him away in his car to an unknown destination. Public Relations Officer of Kogi State Command Williams Aya, who confirmed the incident, assured that arrangements are in place to rescue the victim. Jamil was also abducted in 2019 at one of his field stations in Okene, but was rescued by military officials after a few days in captivity. The military lost one of their officers, while one of the kidnappers was also killed during the rescue operation. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news update coming to you live on Trust TV. Still ahead, 2 missing, 4 rescued in Lagos flood. Stay with us for more stories after the break. Welcome back. You're still watching News Update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our major stories so far. President Muhammadu Buhari urges Nigerians to put country's interests above self as Muslims celebrate Eid al-Kabir. Several more victims of Kaduna-Abuja train attack released. In on the rest of the news, ahead of the 2023 general elections, the All Progressives Congress, APC, says it is working hard to develop strong partnership between states and zone in the Northwest in order to achieve victory at the poll. Now, briefing members of the party on the outcome of the meetings by various committees of the party, National Vice Chairman Northwest of the APC, Salihu Lukman, said they are working to set up situation rooms in each state and take steps to ensure that party supporters get their PVCs. Lukman also appealed to the public to ensure that the issue of voter registration is given priority attention.
This we have, all of us, and I think every party leader had that worry about the fact that the statistics coming out from voter registration exercise are still worrisome. And we need to do everything possible to correct that. we have decided immediately to work in each state to set up what we call situation room, to establish specifically the situation with voters registration exercise.
2 persons have been declared missing while 4 others have been rescued in a violent flood that swept their vehicles away in Orile, Agege area of Lagos State, Nigeria. The vehicles, the Lexus Jeep and the Toyota, were said to be carrying 3 persons each in the vehicles along Far Turkey Street, Agege, when the flood swept their vehicles into an uncompleted drainage in the area. Rescuers from both the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and those from Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, as well as the fire service, were still searching for 2 missing persons. Police Public Relations Officer NEMA in the Southwest Region, Ibrahim Farin-Loye, who confirmed the incident, said 4 persons were rescued alive in the incident. On the foreign scene, Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled his official residence on Saturday, shortly before protesters angered by an unprecedented economic crisis overran the compound and stormed his nearby office. Thousands of people had surrounded the leader's home to demand his resignation, blaming government mismanagement for a downturn that has subjected the island nation's 22 million people to months of bitter hardship. Now, as the crowd surged at the gates of the presidential palace, troops guarding the compound fired in the air to hold them back until Rajapaksa was safely removed. The president was escorted to safety, a top defense source told AFPF, in condition of anonymity, adding that the president is still being protected by a military unit. Footage broadcast live on social media showed hundreds of people walking through the palace, with some among the boisterous crowd jumping into the compound's pool for a swim. And that's it on Trash TV News Update this hour. For more, do contact us on our different social media platforms. I am Nten Epang. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.